When a lot of people hear acquisition, I think there's like fear. How does this actually translate to real benefit down to the franchisee?
As you know, we've gone through epic growth over the last 30 months, and they wanted to add fuel to that fire, but what they really wanted to do was focus on unit economics. And that directly affects the franchisee in a positive way.
Welcome back to Kim Daily TV. Our special guest with us today, his name is Michael Moorhouse. He is the president of Mosquito Shield. Michael, thank you for being my special guest here today at Kim Daily TV.
Thanks so much, Kim. It's a real honor to be with you today.
It's fun to actually be doing this because we were in the airport together, leaving a convention, and we randomly bump into each other because we both take that same JetBlue flight back to
Every
Boston,
time.
wherever we are in the world.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
time.
every time. And we had a quick conversation, and I said, let's get in the studio and record a conversation. So, everybody out there, you hear Mosquito Shield, right? Like, I know when the day you wake up and you say, okay, I'm going to reach out to Kim Daly, I'm ready to explore franchising. You're thinking Jersey Mike's, Chik-Fil-A. You're not thinking Mosquito Shield. But this conversation is going to be why I am going to be thinking Mosquito Shield for you. Like, you're going to laugh, but I'm going to be like, no, this is not a laughing matter. This is a legit, serious business opportunity for an executive in corporate America who may even want to keep a full-time job while they're ramping up this long-term sustainable reoccurring revenue engine. So, Michael, where I'd like to start the conversation is kind of tell my viewers a little of the history, because you have a lot of years of experience as a company, and then how you've recently been acquired by a private equity and what that means now to your franchise opportunity.
Yeah, I love it, Kim. Thanks so much. Yeah, Mosquito Shield's been around since 2001. So we're in 22 years of killing and controlling mosquitoes. And to your point, not a lot of people come into this thinking that that's what their end career is going to be, but they're so excited about the quality of life service it provides. They're the users of it themselves, and they love providing that for others. But 22 years of doing this has really put us at the forefront of this industry. And I think that's what put us on the radar for such a great, parent company like Five Star Franchising to come in and acquire us last March. And that has just provided so many more resources for all of our franchisees. I mean, they've got a 24/7 sales center. So 365, 24/7, people are answering the phone. So for the executive that wants to, start to slowly move out of the corporate world and become that, that gingham individual of some blue collar influences. The sales center takes care of that, handles all the inbound phones, all the inbound web traffic, converts them to customers, and all the person running the business needs to do is focus on getting them service, hiring a technician. We do all the training, we handle all of that, so it definitely sets itself up for semi-absentee. We certainly do well in the owner operator because it's a very low cost investment. You don't need a brick and mortar building to get this thing up and running. You can run it out of your driveway until you scale and start adding multiple trucks. So we do really well with owner operator. Again, they can be out in the truck doing the service if they want. And then we also do really well with husband and wife teams because they know each other's skill sets really well. They've been, quote unquote, working together their whole adult life. So they're very complementary from that standpoint. And a lot of times it's, it might be the husband literally that stays home and the wife maintains the corporate job for a while till they can get their feet under them, or the other way around. And so we see, a lot of success in that model as well.
So I think I'm going to have to add another like checklist to my consultation. Would you like to start a business from your driveway? Like, I've never heard that. That was great.
Yeah,
Normally it's like brick and mortar, home based, but from your driveway. I
exactly.
love that. Okay,
Yeah.
so we rushed over Five Star Franchise, but I don't want to skip over that too quickly because when a lot of people hear acquisition, especially those that may have been downsized or right sized or outsized when the company that they were employed by was acquired and their job got eliminated. So when those people that mindset hears acquisition, I think there's like fear, but I have other videos on my YouTube channel that talk about the benefits of private equity coming into franchising, and I think you spoke a little bit about that, but can we go a little bit deeper into you said you've been involved now for a year. How does this actually translate to real benefit down to the franchisee? Why is
Yeah,
this a good
no,
thing?
it's a great question, and I'll raise my hand at being in that fear category because a year ago when it happened, I think we were all, wondering. I mean, we vetted them and they vetted us, and they seemed like a great fit. And I think our franchisees, going into that acquisition or coming right out of it, how does it affect me, right? As they should. That's what the franchisee should worry about. And I think for the first couple of weeks there was a little bit of a feeling out period and some bumps in the road. And but I think what I learned quickly from Five Star and the masterminds behind it, been in franchising forever. They're truly about the franchisee success, and they only look for turnkey businesses to get involved with, not turnover. So I mean that was something very apparent from the beginning of we, as you know, we've gone through epic growth over the last 30 months. We really hit things going into the pandemic and exploded nationally. We're, over 350 locations now. And they wanted to add fuel to that fire, but what they really wanted to do was focus on unit economics. And that directly affects the franchisee in a positive way. So, what resources could they give to Mosquito Shield to help their franchisee? So, I mentioned that the sales center that's open 24/7. And not only is it a sales center, Kim, but it's dedicated Mosquito Shield only. They're not answering phones for anybody else. And you're not going to find that in any other franchise that offers a sales center because they don't make the investment. They've got to spread it out amongst many brands. So they might be answering a carpet call 1 minute and a gutter call the next. And then this is dedicated, trained by us, people on the phones for our franchisees. They've made a huge investment in MarTech. So we have a new website, consumer website launching out that's all about the consumer journey and getting them to the end result, which is signing up as a Mosquito Shield customer. They've introduced live text, live chat. We're going to be rolling out e-commerce, the only one in the industry where the consumer, if they wish, and they educate themselves online, can convert online and buy and sign up. So just another weight lifted off of the franchisee's responsibility. So again, the franchisee can just focus on making the phone ring and we'll convert them, but really ultimately taking care of their customers because we've got 22 years of unparalleled customer service, unparalleled results. And that's just another layer that Five Star has brought in. And then I think the biggest thing is access to vendor partnerships. So they currently own 6 brands. Mosquito Shield's one of them under the Five Star umbrella. And with that buying power, they've gone out and partnered with. We have a benefit solution. So now franchisees can have benefits for themselves and offer it to employees. So think about like the trouble in this day and age of hiring to be able to put that in a help wanted ad that benefits are available. So that's amazing. They partnered with a great fleet maintenance program. We're all about trucks, right? We got trucks all over the country. So to have a fleet maintenance program is really key. So just, partnerships like that they keep adding. They're adding more vendors every month that all of our franchisees, have access to. So just incredible investment into the company and a lot of knowledge behind them.
So, so you came in thinking I was joking when I said that Mosquito Shield was like not going to be on your radar. Do you see now, people listening, like why this is so exciting to Kim Daly? Because if you've watched any videos here on my YouTube channel or on my podcast, that I am the queen of low startup, low fixed cost, reoccurring revenue businesses. Like that is the sweet spot for me because those type of opportunities set people free. Those fixed costs are what keep owners up at night. You lose sleep, you feel out of control. Businesses like this that are easier to enter, kind of scale as you grow. You're not starting with a fleet of 10 trucks. You're starting with 1 truck and 1 or 2 techs, right? And you're building it from there. It allows you to build your confidence and your skill as you invest your money versus plopping $500,000 down into, one brick and mortar location and then hoping and praying that people come to pay you money so that you can pay your bills, right? So I love, love, love this business. And everything you said was so perfect. So let's go back and you hit that, you nailed the, support by the private equity, like right on the head. It was really, really well stated. And I'm sure that if you become a candidate in a process with Mosquito Shield, that there's probably even more things that the director of development would go through with you and then even show you some of those tools, so that you could get a feeling for how this would actually work and what your role would be as an owner. So we don't want to downplay the role of you as an owner because the business needs an owner. We can support you, but you have to wake up and still execute. So let's define that ideal candidate, Michael, for the Mosquito Shield business. We hit it in the beginning, but let's go back and really talk about it now in the context of all that support that you just offered the listeners.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that you have to think about, because semi-absentee is such a buzzword in franchising, right? And I think that to your point, somebody still has to be engaged, right? And it doesn't have to be the owner, but they have to have a person. We have so many resources available here at the home office for our franchisees. We host a call every other Tuesday. We call 3 and Under. So anybody that's in business for less than 3 years can dial in and just have peer-to-peer support and support
Wow.
from the home office. We have a marketing 101 call every Monday right now as we're heading into the season of just, again, best practices. We've got an FAC, a Franchise Advisory Council, that has their own groups. We just hired a success coach. So one of our longest tenured franchisee, 10 years with us, probably second or third largest revenue wise in the system. The husband and wife team have been able to, take a step back from their business, and she's just a rock star. And we hired her as a success coach, so she's now working with all of her fellow Z's and just giving them best practices and encouragement and just sort of that mentor role along the way. So tons of resources, but again, you want to make sure you've got a good, you got to hire a technician. Someone's got to be in the truck. But you mentioned scalability, Kim. That's what excites me about this business so much is, you mentioned fixed costs, they don't change. So you have one truck, and if you move out of your driveway and you rent a building, that rent doesn't go up with one truck or 10 trucks. So as you scale, this is where the profitability of this business really kicks in, because your fixed costs stay the same. And with all of the support we've already talked about today, with the sales center handling everything, you don't have to staff 4 or 5 people in an office. It's just adding trucks and drivers. As you grow, you're just adding. You might get to at a 10 truck operation, you might get to maybe 1.5 people in the office. It's amazing. So your rent's the same,
So
your
amazing.
overhead's the same. Everything is the same. You're just adding a truck and a driver every time you get to a certain customer threshold, and that's what really ramps this up.
Yeah. And for those out there who may be listening to this and maybe you had some of those limiting beliefs or preconceived notions that franchisors don't care about their franchisees, hopefully through this one video, that whole mindset has been blasted wide open. I mean, all I've heard in this entire interview is how much support there are for their franchisees. Like if you don't execute, that's on you, but it sounds like in Mosquito Shield, the systems and the plans and the people are there. And how amazing for that successful franchisee to be able to come back and give back as a success coach to her fellow franchisees. That the whole expression, you're in business for yourself but not by yourself, it's so real. And this is how it's real in franchising. When you hear stories like that someone who's built a sizable business, who has all but retired, but loves what she did so much that she wants to come back and give back to the community to help the entire brand just continuing to grow. It's really that right there explains why Kim Daly fell in love with franchising when I stumbled into this industry, 26 years ago. And I think why most of us who get sucked into the vortex of franchising stay, because when you find this industry that where it truly is people helping other people, it sounds so cliche, but it is what we all get up to do every single day in franchising. Whether you are a franchisor to your franchisees, a consultant to a wannabe franchisee, a candidate to franchisee, right? We're all in it together, shareholders in the same brand, building brand equity together, sharing best practices. We are a little competitive with each other, but it's not like the backstabbing, kind of competitive. It's competition that just raises everybody up. It's that expression, rising tides raise all ships. We
Mhm.
want to we want to succeed, and maybe we want to be the number one franchisee of the year, but we also, once we do it, we also don't mind sharing what we did to help other people come along with us. So good. So I think one of the common objections in this business that I might get from a candidate is the seasonality, right? Like, I don't know, is it better, Kim, to have a more year-round business? Can we just address, I know there's probably others, but let's just address that one right now, Michael.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest one. You're right, and I think the benefit, there's a blessing and a curse to it, right? The curse is the first couple of seasons because you don't have that 12-month runway. I mean, there are some locations that we have that are like deep south that they're open, 11 or 12 months. It might slow down a little, but they're essentially a 12-month business. But the majority of our locations around the country have a start and an end point, and it's usually 6 to 7 months. The blessing is when you start to ramp this, you're doing 12 months of revenue in 6 months' time. So it really becomes a quality of life. It's a game changer for people of that, especially the ones that are sort of transitioning out of the white collar world, right? And they're leaving corporate for all the right reasons. They're trying to build sustainable wealth and long term sustainability for their families. This affords that. So you grind it out for the couple of seasons, you get things going, and then it just scales on its own. We do really well. Our results are so good. We have over 80% of our customers come back every year. We have about 30% of them that prepay you for the next year every fall. So you send an offer to your customers saying, hey, as an existing customer, no one's ever going to pay less than you. Sign up for next year and save X amount. And you get 30% of those people paying you for the following season. So you've got revenue coming in as you're turning your lights off and closing your vans up. It's an amazing model. So I think all of those things are check a lot of boxes for people as they're considering this.
Yeah, I think more that seasonality, it's just a limiting belief that people have. The whole idea is that you have to think what you think, but you have to be willing to ask the questions to kind of hear what the answers are. And how wonderful, like Michael said, if you've been tied to a corporate desk for years, 20, 30 years, to think about starting a business for yourself where you literally could have the holiday season completely work free. You could travel and not have to worry about your business, right? And I think from that, people may say, well, yeah, but how hard is it to find those seasonal employees when you open back up? And those are the kind of questions and objections that, if you have, I would ask you to take into your due diligence process with Mosquito Shield. I think that, as you can see from the president today, he's demonstrated that the amount of support that's there, it is there. The answers to the questions that you have are inside this system. They're not out there by asking your family and friends or thinking about the competition or trying to do the research on your own. The answers to the questions that you have about this particular franchise, as well as any other particular franchise, they really can only be found from within that franchise system. The people who have what you want, the other franchisees, will be your greatest resource, in addition to the development team and the leadership team inside a franchise. Michael, thank you so much for being my special guest here today and sharing with my followers one of the most sexy and exciting franchise concepts that Kim Daly has to offer.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Such a thrill to be on with you today.
Yeah, no, it's my thrill. Thank you so much. For anybody who may be interested in learning more about this specific opportunity with Mosquito Shield, please follow the email on the screen right now, or reach directly out to inquire@kimdaly.tv. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv. And until next time, my name is Kim Daly, and I want to be your daily coach.